Today, we're gonna break apart a pair of colorful classic sneakers. Stay tuned. These are VANS Old Skool 36DX and they look like they just have been spray painted. Take a look. Now, before we get into their appearance, let me tell you a bit about them to get us to know them better. VANS history is pretty straightforward, and to give the pair we are discussing today a bit of context, I want to share with you guys the major moments throughout the brand's rise to success. The brand was founded in 1966 by the two Van Doren brothers, Paul and Jim, under the name the Van Doren Rubber Company in Anaheim, California. Their first store was open for business at 704 East Broadway, and they had 12 customers during their opening day, and because of the lack of stock, customers placed their orders in the morning and picked the shoes up in the afternoon. Their first pair is the one known today as the Authentic model, and the store displayed a total of 3 models in their windows, and because Paul did not have change to give to the customers took their shoes home and came back the next day to pay. That would be so wild these days. In the early 70s, skateboarders began picking them up and could be seen sporting all over Southern California. In 1976, the off-the-wall logo makes its debut, perfectly illustrating the rebel nature of the skateboarders back in the day that used the off-the-wall slang, doing tricks in empty pools instead of the ball or pump tracks we have today. In 1977 was started as a random doodle by Paul Van Doren and was originally referred to as the jazz stripe, now has become the unmistakable hallmark of the VANS brand. This was the year that this old school silhouette was initially released. That was the one that debuted the brand's new side stripe signature. Originally, it was known as the Style 36, and it was the first shoe to combine leather material into its upper structure. By the end of the 70s, VANS has 70 stores in California and sells through dealers both nationally and internationally. In 1982, VANS classic slip-ons gain international attention and appeal when they are worn by Sean Penn in the film Fast Times at Ridgemont High. In 1984, facing heavy competition and the market flooded with VANS counterfeits, VANS lowered its prices and eventually filed for bankruptcy protection as the firm fails to overcome its $12 million debt. By the 1987, they emerged from bankruptcy and they sell the company to a banking firm for $74.4 million US, and in 2004, VANS merged with North Carolina-based company VF Corporation that also owns Timberland and the North Face brands, amongst 10 others, and VANS to this day. In 2016, as VANS marks 50 years of off-the-wall heritage, it is a business rated at $2.2 billion US. Now, zooming out from their history and into this pair, let's find out if this one is also a success. And first of all, let's discuss appearance. The basic pair of Old Skools comes in a big variety of colorways, and the pair I'm holding is the Anaheim factory version of the standard Old Skool model that's blowing away the classic appearance for a spray-painted approach. The Anaheim factory pack is an entire collection of classic silhouettes that draws inspiration from the original footwear produced in Anaheim, California, and was released by VANS to pay tribute to over 50 years of the off-the-wall design history. The spray-painted effect adds different colors and shades to a white base, going as far to detail things such as overspray and drips, and if we look closer we can even spot a drawing of an open mouth eating a "Those aren't VANS" slogan. But VANS is not done with the quirkiness, because this also features a soul that speaks to us, and "Those aren't VANS" text is featured twice more on each sneaker sidewall, alongside "Get the real thing, get VANS" text and some character doodles maybe after they're fallen off their board, and also an off-the-wall red license plate on the rear bumper. Speaking of the sidewalls, this one is a bit on the glossy side. The rest of the shoe sits in shades of tan throughout the exterior as well as on the interior. Branding wise, we can spot the usual side stripes on each sneaker, the VANS off-the-wall plate in the rear I have previously mentioned, and another VANS logo sits on the insole. The outsole features the famous VANS pattern in contrasting light brown. What I like the most about the exterior design is the non-matching spray-painted pattern. As you can see, the one on the left shoe differs quite quite a lot from the one on the right one. Now what I have found a bit strange the first time I have picked these sneakers up is their weight. These are not as light as you would expect, so let's break down the materials used for manufacturing these. The upper is canvas with 10 suede overlays, one in the forefoot acting as toe gauge, one in the back offering heel support, and 2 strips at the top acting as reinforcements for the laces eyelets. This was a good design decision as a canvas upper alone would not withstand lacing for long and would require metal eyelets. The 2 VANS white side stripes are made from synthetic leather and feature triple stitching in the hindfoot area. The tongue is made from the same canvas used for the upper and features a softer synthetic material on the interior to contribute to your feet's comfort. Speaking of the interior, the rest of it is also made from a synthetic, more malleable and softer textile on the sides as well as on the insole, with the exception of the heel area that features a white thin rubbery-like feel synthetic material and the ankle collar that is made from a synthetic sticky white material, maybe there to keep your foot in place even if you do not cinch the laces tight. The insole is non-removable, but believe me, this one is quite thick and it is made from a medium softness ortholite foam. The higher glassed foxing tape surrounding the sneakers is made from rubber together with the whole outsole. In the padding department, Vans are not famous for excelling, but this pair featured decent cushioning in the collar surrounding your ankle and a thin layer inside the tongue to prevent lace bites. Laces are wide and made from cotton. In the durability department, taking into account the sturdy canvas upper, the suede overlays and the vulcanized sole, I find this pair to be able to withstand the test of time, but that of course depends on how you plan to use them. These are born as skateboarding sneakers and should theoretically be able to take daily beating gracefully and even ask for more. As you probably know, Vans also sells already dirty sneakers, so keeping all the whites and tans in mint condition won't be an issue to bother yourself with. Unfortunately, these do not feature any sidewall stitching, and my main concern is that sidewall separation will probably occur at least in the areas where the shoe bends a lot. And another concern I have, and here Vans also backs me up, is that as we all know, and because I work with materials, this one I know for a fact, with any kind of print, colors will fade in time if the material is exposed to UV light, and that's any light coming from the sun, even at shade point. And if you do not plan to keep these sneakers in a box in complete darkness, even Vans warns you about this in a sticker placed on the outsole about the color migration that may occur during use because of the dyed materials that these sneakers feature. Now, in the features department, comfort-wise, I find this to be above average in Vans lineup thanks to its generous padding, but also a bit on the heavy side and not as flexible as you would expect, and this is mainly because of their thick, rigid midsole, but there is a reason behind that, and that is to facilitate good contact with the ground and board at all times. One great feature that scores the most points in my book is the reinforced toes area, using the thick rigid suede for that area that we all know is heavily prone to accidental bangs. This pair has you covered, literally. Now, another small quirky detail that maybe only I find strange, but I have to bring it up, is the way the foxing tape that composes the sidewall is finished in the back, slightly overlaying ends on top of each other and gluing the off the wall on top that just sticks out quite a lot. And also the whole text in the back intentionally doesn't have continuity. I find that very quirky. Now, on the brighter side, I know that these are non-features per se and might not be as important to some, but I have to mention them because I find these details small but to have a great effect on the overall buying experience, and that is, firstly, the Vans off the wall tag that comes attached to one sneaker is also a sticker that you can stick next to the other 1000 stickers you already have on your car, bike, board, and so on. I know that I am a hoarder in that regard. And second, I find the Vans shoebox design one of the best out there. I like the distinct shape, design, color, and also even the cardboard seems to be higher quality than most shoeboxes and doesn't get all torn apart that fast. I have received some sneakers in some boxes in such a state that I couldn't even shoot an unboxing for the channel. Maybe more like an unwrapping? Well, let's draw conclusions. So, are these skateboarding sneakers or daily sneakers? Well, I find them to be both, but are these great skateboarding sneakers? Well, not the greatest, and that is mainly because of their thick midsole that makes you lose the feel to your board and would make carving and harder skate tricks maybe a bit harder. But for most daily longboarding or cruising while commuting or taking your board for a chill spin down the Sunset Boulevard, these work just fine and will still give you some feedback of what's happening under your feet. Also, keep in mind that VANS brand is currently still overwhelmingly popular, especially amongst teens, and seems to me that it won't go out of style anytime soon, and that's why from a style standpoint you cannot go wrong with any pair. What do you think about this, or VANS in general? Please leave any thoughts below. While you are there, I hope that I have also earned a subscription from you, and you can also click the subscribe button, as only merely 2% of you guys watching my videos have already subscribed to the channel. That was it, see you in the next one.
I love her, that's right. And it's alright, baby.